Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. In just a few short days here, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be adding to their roster in round one of the 2025 NFL Draft with their first-round selection. And on today's show, we're going to switch it up a little bit. Usually I'm talking about players that I do want the Steelers to take in round one. Today, I've got 5 players. I wouldn't be too thrilled for Omar to turn that card in for the Pittsburgh Steelers on night one there in Green Bay. Before we get into the content today, let me know down there in the comments section, which player or players do you really hope the Pittsburgh Steelers do not take in round one? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Who's somebody you really hope Omar avoids in round one this year? So we'll start here with quarterback Jalen Milroe. Now, I want to make abundantly clear here, I think Milroe as a mid-round prospect would be perfectly fine for the Steelers, especially if they get Aaron Rodgers, where you got a super talented, high-upside guy like Milroe, learning from one of the most intelligent quarterbacks in football history in Aaron Rodgers. I think that'd be a really good setup. But I think with or without Aaron Rodgers here, drafting Milroe in round one would be a big mistake. If Rodgers is here and he is signed, then you just spent your first-round pick on a high-risk project type of quarterback that can't help you win now. If you bring in Rodgers, it's a win-now move. And I can guarantee you right now, Rodgers wants the Steelers to draft players that are going to help them win in the short term. So that would be like the worst case scenario there that Rodgers does not want, is because you're taking a quarterback that's not going to be helping the team win in 2025. So that probably wouldn't go over too well with your new starting quarterback. That is if he's on the roster by the time the NFL draft comes around. But even if Rodgers doesn't sign and you need a quarterback early on in the NFL draft this year, you just spent your round one pick on a high-risk project quarterback that isn't ready to play in year one. All right, Milroe needs to go to a team that with an established veteran that he can learn from for at least 1, maybe 2 years before you even think about putting him on an NFL football field. If you don't have Aaron Rodgers and you draft Jalen Milroe round one without trading back especially, you're drafting a guy to pretty much play right away, something that Milroe is not ready to do heading into his rookie season. So listen, man, like I said, in round 3 or 4 and Rodgers signs, you can make an argument that Milroe would be my number one option, all right, because he's got the highest upside of all the guys that are going to be available at that point in the NFL draft if he makes it that far. And like I said, the ability and the opportunity for him to learn from Aaron Rodgers, I think would be absolutely beneficial for his development into what the Steelers would be hoping is their next franchise quarterback. All right, so in round 3 or round 4, would love Milroe, but if they take him in round 1, I'm absolutely going to crash out, folks. Some other round 1 quarterback targets that they could consider, though, that I think are more ready to play than Milroe: Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado, Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss, and even if they wanted to trade down and take Tyler Shuck, even at either at the tail end of round 1 or early round 2, that is something that I would certainly consider. Tyler Shuck actually has some really great tape, and he's got some great physical tools. You can even argue, at least I would make the argument, that there's at least a chance that he's going to be a better player than Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart at the next level. So, that's probably what I would do, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section and sound off. What's the % chance the Steelers go QB in round 1 of the NFL draft this year? Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 for me down there in the comment section. 0 meaning no chance they take a quarterback round 1, to 100 meaning they are definitely taking a quarterback in round 1. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. And with that, let's have word from our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action all on your phone. It's 100% free to download right now, guys, and join over 10 million members and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect, and you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where every Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. All you have to do is select more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections for any sport of your choosing. You can choose baseball, basketball, hockey. When football comes back around, you can certainly smash the football promotions as well. And you guys can download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup when you download the Prize Picks app today. Prize Picks, run your game. The second player that I would not be too happy with if the Steelers took him in round 1 is Shamar Stewart, defensive lineman out of Texas A&M. Now, I think that Shamar Stewart is somebody that is going to be viewed as a high upside guy. And, I think that he's going to be somebody that a lot of people kind of comp to Trayvon Walker because he's a good run defender. Not a lot of production in college, but he's got incredible physical tools, had a perfect 10 out of 10 relative athletic score at the combine this year. But I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers, the reason why they brought him in for a draft visit this year is because they're thinking about converting him to 5 technique, which is more of an interior position in their base formations when in their 5-man fronts. It's the same position Larry Ogunjobi filled when he was still with the Steelers. And, Shamar Stewart, his profile is somebody that's a really good run defender. He's got great play strength. He's got really good arm length. And, he's going to be able to hold his own against the run from day one in the National Football League. But the big bugaboo with him and with me is that he doesn't really attack the pass rusher all that effectively. He relies too much on the bull rush. And for somebody that relies on the bull rush, he doesn't really win with it all that much. I think he's got underwhelming ability to win with the bull rush, and then he doesn't really have other moves to win with. He doesn't have a spin. He doesn't have a chop. He doesn't have a rip. He doesn't really use a swim move. He doesn't win with speed around the edge either. He just tries to run over people, and, he's got an incredible physical profile, and he's great against the run, but his pass rushing is just so far away from being good on the edge. And I think if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you might be interested in him being a really good run defending 5 technique. But, I just don't really see the upside with him in that spot. And if you're going to draft a player to play interior D-line, I would much rather play a player or draft a player with interior D-line experience, or at least more of it. Somebody like a Derek Harmon, a Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, someone like that, as opposed to someone like Shamar Stewart, who's coming out as an edge rusher. And there's just really no room for the Steelers to use him as an edge rusher with T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig as the top 3 edge rushers on this team. So I think it would be a really dumb decision if Shamar Stewart is the pick, and if he ends up being the pick, I will be pretty pissed off. Then we get to my third crash-out pick here, which is Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina. Now, this is another combine warrior that has a perfect 10 out of 10 relative athletic score, great size, great speed, a lot of stuff that talent evaluators really drool over. But I think that he still has a little ways to go in terms of his run defense, even at his size. And I think that he does have tight hips in coverage one-on-one. So, I love the size. I love the character, too. He was a team captain there with the Gamecocks. I think that he's got some pretty good zone coverage instincts. I think he's good as a deep defender. There's a lot of things to like about Nick Emenwari, but I think that, if you're going to be trying to use him in the box as a run defender, I think his mental processing speed is really slow. I think that his run diagnostic ability, he's wrong consistently. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up from a mental perspective with Nick Emenwari. And for me, he's not a win-now player, all right? I think at best, you're putting him behind Minkah Fitzpatrick and Deshaun Elliott, and you're rotating him in alongside Juan Thornhill to try and develop him into a real defensive weapon down the road. And to be fair, Emenwari has all the physical tools needed to be that defensive weapon that you can move all over the defense in the slot, in the box, deep. You can move him around and really use him as a disguise piece in the future. I kind of wonder if Pittsburgh is interested in him being the starting slot corner for this team if they draft him this season, because he's a really good tackler out in space. He's got long arms. Obviously, he can bully any slot receiver that tries blocking him out in the slot. So, it'd be interesting to see what the Steelers' plan for him is if they end up drafting him. But with Minkah Fitzpatrick and Deshaun Elliott still, kind of number 1 and number 2 safety here, I don't think it's necessarily a win-now kind of move. And I would rather get a player that can be a big impact for this team year 1. Then another guy that I would not be too happy with is Azareye'h Thomas out of Florida State. And I will say this right now, I actually really like Thomas's film. All right, I think that he's very fundamentally sound, and I think that he's a great press man corner. So you might be saying, well, Jack, if you like his film and you think he's technically sound, you think he's a great physical press man corner, Why would you be mad if the Steelers took him? Well, there's two problems. Number one, he wouldn't play in year one unless there's an injury to Darius Slay or Joey Porter Jr. All right, he'd be more of a developmental piece. And number two, his lack of long speed as a press man corner scares the living crap out of me. All right, like he's going to get burned at the next level. I mean, almost 4.6 speed from a corner that wants to play up in your face. So if you go up against a great burner type of wide receiver and he beats your press jam coverage there, he's going to run right by you, and it's an easy touchdown for the opposing offense if you don't have safety help. All right, that scares me a lot. And there's just not a whole lot of examples, guys, of corners that are press man corners succeeding in the league running 4.6s. It just doesn't happen. And the guys that, try to do it end up converting into zone corners like Rasul Douglas, who's actually done a pretty good job of converting from a press man corner to kind of an off-zone type of corner. But, it takes time to develop that. And even Rasul Douglas, he's a good corner, but he's not a great corner. If you're drafting a cornerback in round one, you're expecting that corner to be a pretty darn good number one corner right there. I just don't see that with Azareye'h Thomas, and I think that he might be worth a late day 2, early day 3 pick, because I think, in certain schemes he could be a great fit, and, maybe, just maybe, he can overcome the speed issues that he has. But he's without question a risk to be an absolute bust. And then even then, I think he's got some limited upside, and he's probably going to have to convert, almost like Rasul Douglas did, into more of an off-zone type of corner, because I just don't think he has the speed to survive as a press man corner in the National Football League. So before we get into my final crash out target here, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you're enjoying the content today, if you want more draft content like this, make sure you like the video. It helps out the YouTube algorithm, does all that great stuff to put our channel in front of more Steelers fans like yourselves. So if you're feeling generous today, I'd greatly appreciate it if you click that thumbs up icon. Then the final crash out pick here would be Travion Henderson out of Ohio State. Multiple reasons why I wouldn't love this pick for the Steelers. First of all, I don't have a first-round grade on Henderson. I don't think his vision is very good. I think that he consistently picks the wrong lane to run into. It's every single type of run scheme that they ran at Ohio State. It's not just on this specific run scheme he was bad and then he had good vision on outside zone or something like that. He's got explosive ability. He can be a home run hitter, no question about that. And, he's got a lot of hype, and there's a lot of people that think he's going to be a first-round pick. But I don't think Henderson's a slam dunk. I think he's got some bust potential. And along with that, I think that his skill set is a little redundant with Jaylen Warren's. All right, I would rather get somebody that can wear down an opposing defense, somebody that can, make those big plays happen, but also be a bigger body that can fall forward, get those extra tough yards, kind of to do the stuff that Najee Harris did, but also provide the splash that Najee really never did here in Pittsburgh. The two guys in round one that I would consider in round one, Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State and Omar Hampton out of North Carolina. And maybe, just maybe, if you trade down to pick 31 and you want to take Caleb Johnson out of Iowa, who's an excellent fit in Arthur Smith's outside zone scheme, I guess I'd be okay with that too. But Travion Henderson is too risky and too redundant for the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion, to take in round one. So let me know down there in the comments section, who's your guy, which running back, and in which round do you hope the Pittsburgh Steelers draft this year? Are you hoping they get Ashton Jeanty and trade up for him in round one? Are you hoping Omar Hampton falls to them in round one? Do you want somebody in the middle rounds? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. And that'll be it for today's edition of Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. Thank you guys for making it with me here to the very end. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.